Yeah, but they're little changes that you suddenly see, like
Yeah.
he's sleeping more and eating less and
Oh,
yeah, but he's still a happy dog and bossy as hell. Where's my
I
dinner,
think if you
woman?
do that, you'll be able to hear the music, but now they can hear us too, Eric. Transition over to us, it's all good. Okay, we'll start. Should start now. Just let me know when I'm on the screen. Hello. Hi, everyone. I hope that you are able to join us today. Thank you so much that we're able to do this another episode from the Moose Lodge yet again. This time we have a really cool episode for you. It's going to be for basically going over the dogs that have passed and that have gone over the Rainbow Bridge. And we want to share some of these moments and stories and things with you. Today we have Debbie and Megan here. Hello.
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 And they'll be sharing with us some of the stories that we have, they have gone through with the Moose Lodge. And we'll be going over a couple of the dogs that, over the years have passed. And I think it does happen quite often, right? So, Megan, if you want
hmm
to start us off on that, I would like to definitely know more about like how often does it happen and how
Yeah.
hard it is.
So, um, it's part of what we're here for, right? Um, if we weren't having dogs pass away, we really wouldn't be what we are. So I think we probably lose 10 to 15 dogs a year. Um, I think the last dog I lost was just about 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. And it- I think Debbie lost a couple in the last couple of months as well. So it's fundamental to what we do, and it's why we do what we do because we know that we can manage the loss. And sometimes the dogs stay with us just for a short time, sometimes days or weeks, and sometimes, as we'll talk about in a little while, sometimes they end up staying with us for years. And really, when the dogs come to us, there's really no way of knowing. Um, a lot of times, the dogs that come in and they look really bedraggled and sad and like they're in bad shape bounce back very quickly when they are cleaned up and have a comfortable bed and good food. And so that's part of the fun of all of this, the joy of kind of seeing a dog come back to life. And when that
Mm,
doesn't happen the way we hope it does, we, give them a comfortable passing.
yeah, no, that makes complete sense. And who do you have with you
This is
today?
Zinnia. Zinnia is
Zinnia.
shy, I guess. Zinnia, Zinnia's about 12 or 13, maybe
Mm.
14. She came to us through in the same way that Minnie came to us. So she's a good example of these dogs that one of the different ways that we get the dogs. Zinnia came to us from the Colony, which is in Albany, Colony Animal Control. And they work with this wonderful shelter or veterinarian called Boyd Veterinarian. And so every
Mm.
once in a while, I get an email or a text from the animal control officer, Jim, in Colony saying, I have this senior dog. Do you think you could help us out? And when, especially for these smaller dogs, we're able to do that. And Minnie kind of got cleaned up before she came to us, and Zinnia did too. She had a dental and she had a really gross, weird growth on her side, like a pretty
Oh
substantial size.
no.
And
Yeah.
so I took her home and then brought her back 2 days later to get it removed. And she's happy and a very classic Chihuahua. She's noisy and bossy and very sweet, very loving, very affectionate, and kind of a bossy little girl.
Yeah. Oh, she's adorable. She's quite new, right?
She came last June.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so like about half a year or so.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Debbie also has someone with her today. Who do we
Yes.
have today?
We have Parsnip, who came to us through the wonderful people at Deep South Canine Rescue. He was kind of a last minute thought, a lovely one. We had a dog coming from them, a larger dog, and they said, you got room for a little guy, and the only problem is he's incontinent. But we got him really good looking diapers. Can you see
Yeah.
that? Yeah, yeah.
Ah.
So he's got quite a wardrobe, but he's a sweetheart. He's about 12. He's a what is he? He's
A
a
Yorkshire Terrier.
Yorkshire Terrier, right? Thank you. He's blind in one eye. You can see he's just totally blind in one eye, but that
Oh,
doesn't stop him from being incredibly bossy. And he sleeps on my head, and he's a joy. He's an absolute
Yeah.
joy.
yeah, he's the one that gets his food away from everyone on the
Yes.
bed, right?
Not only that, but I hand feed
Special
it to him.
treatment.
Yeah. I hand
Oh
feed him
yeah,
his
A
you
food.
little
hand feed it. I
prince.
Mhm.
remember. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
He's
Yeah.
a prince.
He is indeed. And when he's ready for dinner, which is never when everybody else is, it's always when I'm done putting the dishes in the dishwasher. That's when he's ready. And he demands it. It's like, come on, my lady. I was going to say something else, but come on, woman. Let's go. Dinner time.
Feed me
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, exactly. Like the little shop of horrors, right? You're the little shop of horrors. Feed me,
No.
Seymour. So yeah, he's a joy.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you guys
Hmm.
so much for bringing the puppies, to the podcast because I think it's like just really cute. And if we could keep doing that every podcast,
Oh
like
yeah.
a new one, so we can kind of like get to know them a little bit and their little personalities, that would be so
Hmm.
cool.
Okay.
Um, I know
For
we
sure.
have a bit of a hard-hitting episode today. Um, and I guess we should kind of start out with some of the dogs that have passed, and we will be doing this series, right? Over the Rainbow Bridge. And this is kind of like you could say episode one of the
Uh-huh.
series, where we would be talking about, dogs that have passed and also sharing if we ever get any stories from our viewers or
Hmm.
from our supporters, and you guys we will have at the end of the episode like a little slide where you guys can send your stories to. I believe it's stories at mooselodgesbs.org. So if you guys send your stories there, we'll get them and we'll feature them on the next episode.
Mm.
Great. Love it.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. And so I guess there's no easy way to get started, but I believe one of the core dogs that we were going to start with was Lumpy,
Yeah.
and I know we talked briefly about him last episode, but I would really love to get into his background and who
Hmm.
we got him from, and everything that we had
Yeah.
to that you guys went through with him and his story.
Yeah. So he started out with me. He came from Tennessee, from a municipal shelter in Tennessee, and he came through from that shelter through the rescue that we work with in Staten Island called For Blake's Sake Rescue. And he was with me for quite a while. And this was at the very beginning when we were just kind of starting to meet each other and collaborate. And my memory is of Debbie and Dave coming up for the weekend, and we do sort of like a timeshare with Jesse. And
Mm,
they would take him on the weekends, and I would get him during the week. He didn't do stairs super well, and so it was really great for him to be able to spend time at Moose Lodge with the ramp.
Right.
And of course, he got the name Lumpy because of the massive numbers of lumps on his body. And he was not uh s- like he could get around, but he wasn't super mobile. So he's a great example of those dogs that really like the stairs at my house really weren't appropriate for him. And so he would go, we split time and then he became a permanent resident over there when Debbie and Dave established themselves. And Debbie, I would, toss it over to you. He was a character, let's say. Uh, he had a lot to say, and he was a lot.
Yeah, he was. He knew what he wanted, which was food.
Yeah.
He was very food driven, and he would let us know. He was very verbal. And I just kept thinking, every time I looked at him, I would just think, this dog is so sweet. And we don't really know what his story is, but he's
Mm.
so
No.
sweet. And he must have belonged to somebody who was good to him because he's not young. And he ended up in a
Yeah.
shelter. And, God knows what would have happened to him. But every time I would look at him, he was so happy. He
Hmm.
was just the happiest dog,
Yeah.
particularly when I was standing by the refrigerator. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
me and the refrigerator were the same thing to him, and he was having such a good time here.
Yeah.
So, and the lumps didn't bother him at all.
Mm-mm.
And I don't even remember when he started to decline, but he lost mobility in his back legs, if I remember. That's one of the first
Mm.
signs.
Yeah.
They start to lose mobility in their back legs. And he slipped away. It wasn't too slow. It wasn't too quick. He wasn't in any pain. He just stopped eating. And when a dog like Lumpy stops eating,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, it
time.
Stopping,
slows.
yeah, the loss of appetite is almost always the sign that where you're
A
getting close
giveaway.
to time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And especially for a dog like him, who is not a picky eater and far
Yeah.
from it, he had a voracious appetite. And as we were preparing for this and I was looking through old photos, I could see that at the end, he had a lot of lumps, but he gained a lot of weight too.
Yeah.
Um, because
Yeah.
he certainly ate well here.
Yeah.
And he had been a stray. That's
Oh.
how he ended up
Mm.
in the shelter. And I always say stray because like a dog like Lumpy, Zinnia is the same way. Like Zinnia didn't escape from someone's house, right? Lumpy didn't like run away from home. So usually stray means somebody dumped them, and that's, somebody found them and whatever. There's lots of stuff behind that, but he
Yeah.
um he was a noisy guy. He was
Oh,
a
yeah.
classic
Right.
beagle,
Hmm.
and he was really social too. He really got along well with the other dogs, and he enjoyed sunbathing quite a lot. He was just, he was just like a classic old man, kind of smelly and lumpy and sometimes a little demanding, but really sweet. Really, really sweet. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so he was the first dog that one of the first, Nicole was the other one, that was like I always think of as like the first official moose lodger.
Yeah,
Mm.
I do
Um
too. I do too.
because
Yeah.
yeah, because he was that dog that was like, okay, like he's not going to last a long time.
Hmm.
And actually he did. He lasted, I think, 2 years.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
he he actually did, but he's like the quintessential, he's not going to get adopted. Even though when he came to me initially, we tried to get him adopted, and he
Oh.
actually went to a different foster home before he kind of settled in at my place and then moved over to Moose Lodge. But he's, I think, also like that classic scenario of like he has life in him.
Hmm.
He has vigor and he has a great personality, but he, like, no people aren't adopting dogs that are in that situation where um their lifespan is unknown but certainly limited. And so, we were lucky. I think he's the kind of dog I look at it and say we're really lucky to have met him and to
Mhm.
have taken care of him. And so, even though we're talking about the loss, I don't think of him at all and feel sad.
Mhm.
He
Hmm.
he
Good
was
point.
like he had a grand time, and he sort of epitomizes what we do and why we do it.
That's absolutely right. And I forgot that at the beginning because we signed the lease, signed the paperwork on the house, but didn't move in for like another month. We were going back and forth, and we would have like these test runs. Megan would bring us dogs on the weekend when we were here,
Yeah.
and he was one of them. And because we were so new at this, and
Yeah.
we were just trying to figure things out. So Lumpy would come and spend the weekend, or Nicole, who was another one we'll talk about some other time. But yeah, he was like one of our very first. And then as the other dogs came in, when we settled in and we were here, and we brought 3 dogs with us that had been our dogs in the city.
What were the
He,
3 dogs? Like
uh, it,
Jessie, Lumpy?
the 3 dogs that were ours, one was Dickens, who passed,
Mm.
Squirrel, who was Moose's, had been around with Moose and Squirrel.
That was
Those
the
of you
husky, right?
Yes, those of you that are old enough to know the joke will get the joke.
Yeah. And
And
when did Ollie come around? Because I know he's our second dog.
uh, there he is. He was early on. We were already living here. We were already living here
Hmm.
at that point. Yeah.
Yeah.
The third dog that came with us is Memphis, and he's still with us.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
Memphis. Memphis
Mhm.
just got his veterinary, he just
Yes.
appointment, right?
Yes, yes. He's in
Yeah.
very good health, and they wanted one of the gals there wanted to take him home. There he is.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
But
Nile is the one that came up with Parsnip. They came up from the south together at
Oh,
the same
yes.
time. Yeah.
Ollie came to us in
gotcha.
2023,
Oh, good. Okay, great.
and he came from Staten Island with For Blake's Sake,
Hmm.
and he came to us as one of the few dogs who came with a diagnosis that we knew was a life shortening diagnosis. He had a cancer diagnosis, so we knew that he was not going to um, last a super long time. And
Gotcha.
but he
How
ha
long do they usually last? Like you guys said 2 years was a really long time. Is
yeah,
that, is it?
there's no way to know. So Debbie, right, we've had dogs that lasted a couple of weeks. I've had a bunch
Yeah.
of dogs that only
Yeah.
lasted a few weeks. And I think the dog I had that lasted the longest, who came in as a senior, was the dog we're going to talk about in a minute,
Yeah.
Sandy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sandy lasted 4 years, and
Yeah.
she came in. She was I will tell you, I lost track of her age. I think she probably was 20 or so when she passed away.
Mm.
And the
Yeah,
picture is her early, early on, and she never got she looked like that for the entirety of her time here. She was
yeah.
skinny, and her eyes were those kind of like I always thought they
Completely
looked like
foggy.
marbles.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
she was blind, but she had such an intuitive navigation, like she could get anywhere she needed to be. And she was super duper friendly and loved to snuggle, and could find her way around the house and into the dog bed and into a lap really, really quickly. Um, but yeah, so she lasted 4 years. Nothing was wrong with her. When she went to the vet, I'll say this, a couple of vet related comments about the dogs. The vet related to Jesse said that he had the most lumps of any dog she'd ever seen in her life.
oh
And
wow.
the
Mhm.
comment I remember about Sandy was that dogs like her, she was an Italian Greyhound, not to be mistaken for a Greyhound, which are very large running dogs. She's like
Yeah.
a miniature Greyhound. So
Oh yeah, I
very
can kind of see it.
long, go ahead, long limbs, very low body fat, and her pointy ears and pointy nose, great nose. And the vet was like, "Oh, those dogs live forever. Like they're a very long-lived and healthy dog." She never took medication and she never
Oh,
really had any issues at all. But she had such low body fat and no fur, so she wore a jacket all of the time. She had her summer
yeah,
outfits and then her winter outfits. This is one of her winter fleeces.
And when
this
we
is
would go to farmers markets or
Yeah.
flea markets with our dogs, which we did, we introduced ourselves to the neighborhood at certain wonderful towns around here, Troy and Kinderhook and the like. She was a fan favorite. They loved her, the little kids, because she was like a greyhound, only miniature, and she was very friendly.
Yeah.
yeah, she
And
has big ears. She has
yep,
big ears.
Yeah.
yeah, and
And
the kids loved her. The
and
kids
she
loved
would sit quietly
her.
in the this actually this little sling. She would sit quietly for the entire farmers market. We still go to the farmers markets in Kinderhook especially, and she was great because she would sit there happily and just chill out and sniff and cuddle. She loved being in the sling, and she was really friendly. She really loved people, and there was always kind of a mixed reaction because her eyes were very striking, and so some people thought she was adorable, and then some people thought she was a little creepy looking. I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh,
and she was a
Whitney's kids say hi, by the way.
oh, hi
They're
Hi,
guys.
guys.
Thomas and
Yeah.
Amat. Hi.
Okay.
So Sandy was her owner passed away and she came to us through for Blake's sake in one of these really like this is one of the situations I love about working with another rescue that these dogs that have um their when an owner passes away, so like it happens. Senior dogs often have senior owners. The senior owner passes away, and the family can't or isn't interested in taking care of the dog or keeping the dog. And for Blake's sake, in Staten Island, is one of the few rescues that will take an owner surrender um, right right in instead of having them go through a shelter. The shelters in New York City, which is one of the places we get a fair number of dogs, um, do take owner surrenders, but rescues don't. So just as a clarification, the shelters are like formal, like brick and mortar buildings, and most towns and cities have shelters. Rescues are like what we are. They're usually foster based, and they're nonprofit and they're private. And most of the time, rescues get dogs from shelters or other rescues. And it's less common for individuals to be able to um, take a dog straight to a rescue. It's very hard
Right.
because you're not, the dog isn't being vetted by a third party
Mm.
sometimes. And it's challenging because sometimes we end up with a dog, because we've done this a few times, that really ought to have been like the dog is at its end. And rather than the person making the very difficult decision to let the dog go, they're like, "Oh, maybe you can help it." But really the dog is at the end. And so it's tough to do that because instead of offering a dog like a time in sanctuary, what we're really doing is taking on the role of making this really tough decision about the end of life for the owner.
Right.
And that's always a little bit hard. But
Yeah.
in a case like Sandy, where she was um, quite healthy and vigorous, having her come from one home into rescue, and then actually, I think she was in a foster home before she came to me is really great because these are the dogs that, when the senior dogs go into shelters, no dog thrives in a shelter, but the seniors really struggle. And any dog with a sensory impairment is has an even harder time. And of course, they don't get adopted. So anytime you can avoid having a dog go into shelter, it's really great. And that's what happened with Sandy. So she had this kind of transition from home to home and then ended up she lived for 4 years after she came into my home. And she really,
Oh,
like, I thought she was going to go on forever. Um, but but
yeah.
she eventually passed too, and she passed very peacefully at home.
But you also had a couple of instances with her where you would say to me, well, she's circling the drain, which is code for she's getting close to the end, right?
Right.
And
Oh my
then
gosh.
she'd be
No.
back. I mean,
Yeah.
a couple of times we were ready to say goodbye, and
Right.
she wasn't. I mean, I would
Right.
say that happened maybe 4 times
It
before she
happened, it
actually
Wow.
happens a
passed.
lot. And I say circling the drain, which is kind of like our black humor, our dark
Yeah,
humor way
yeah.
of describing it, because it's at first like there are signs that the dog is starting to go downhill, and it's like they're still vibrant, they're still okay, but they're not, their time is coming. They're starting to decline.
Change,
Yeah.
change. You
And
see
it
real
is,
changes.
yeah, and it is that like particularly like with Jessie and Sandy, because Sandy had such an appetite as well. She never ever ever gained weight, but she ate like a horse. And so when you see dogs like that that have appetites and then they lose their appetite or they miss meals, and you know something's up. Zinnia here is one of those dogs that is like voracious, and so that's always a sign. But then when you have dogs that are a little picky, sometimes the dogs just go like they miss a meal because they're like, I'm really waiting for chicken or something like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, so Sandy's a special dog, and she was really like um she's one of the true sanctuary, like, because she wasn't going to get adopted, but she was so popular. She was a fan favorite. And oh, she was just so sweet. She had terrible breath, and but she was such a lovely dog, and she spent most of the end of her life on my lap, or she demanded to sleep next to me, and she would curl into a ball and like aggressively cuddle to make sure she was as close to me
Oh,
as
yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
She was cold. She's always
No,
cold.
no,
Oh,
no, she wasn't cold because
oh,
she
she was.
never was without a sweater.
Mm.
She had a
Mm.
whole wardrobe, but it was just the closeness. She always wanted to be close.
What happens to the wardrobes of these dogs, like when they pass? Do they like go to the other dogs possibly,
I
or
I always do that. I don't have a sentimental
just
attachment to
curious?
the clothes, because, well, I personally, like, I don't bear them with their collars. And of course we can get into that. Maybe we should talk about that, because like there are some practical thought, like, considerations for end of life beyond like the decision making and the emotional challenges um of like going through the actual process, and that is um deciding what to do with deciding whether they're going to be cremated or um buried. And if we cremate them, are we getting ashes back? Are they being, because there's a lot of expense involved in all of this. And
Right,
that's one of the reasons that the the fundraisers have started around that, because it costs a lot, even with, special discounts or anything like that, to euthanize a dog, and then to cremate a dog is another expense. And
right.
It's often another reason why a dog is turned over by a family because they don't want to pay the
They
yeah,
can't
expense.
afford it.
they
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
afford it.
So
Yeah.
they'll turn the dog over to a shelter, let's say, and then somebody, like, for break's sake, comes along and says, "No, wait, there's still life in this thing.
Right,
You know,
right.
I can wash it a few times and still wear
Yeah. And the
it."
Sandy's wardrobe lives on because her little fleeces didn't really get a lot of like heavy use. So like their shapes very different, but Zinnia is a big fan of the of outfits, and so she wears
Oh,
some of
great.
her of Sandy's
What was Sandy
clothes.
cremated or
No, Sandy buried at was died at home, so she's buried in my yard. And yeah, so this is another one of those kind of like, okay, the details are a little bit, uncomfortable slash, I don't know, gruesome, but I bury dogs in my backyard when they die at home unless
yeah.
unless there's something,
Do
special
you
or
have like their names? Like, do you know where each one is buried?
no, I don't.
I
I don't
was
because
just wondering,
so I have a
everyone.
I kind of have a rough layout. But
Mm,
so for me personally, again, this is getting into those details that, we don't talk about and they're hard, but they're very, very important because it's a real thing you
right.
have to deal with. So if I bury a dog in my backyard, they have to be of a size that I can dig a hole to get them into. So big
Mm,
dogs really can't get
yeah.
buried.
So what happens to big dogs
Usually
usually?
we take them to
The
well,
vet.
it's less common for the big dogs to die at home, at least
Mm,
for me, where I've been more proactive in saying like this dog is fading and you make the decision right away.
yeah, like
And
if they're in pain.
yeah,
Mhm,
or
mhm.
um gosh, there's so many variables with that, but the last
Yeah.
bigger dog that I lost was a foster called Colonel, and
Mm.
I had to take him to the emergency veterinarian, and he was very, very ill, and we decided right on the spot. And with he was a special scenario because his owner had passed away, and there was another person who was interested in taking care of him and contributed money, but was not able to keep him. And so we made the decision together and then had him cremated. But he was a bulldog and he was way too big for me to get, to bury. But a dog like Sandy, what I do is when they die at home, they're they're buried in whatever clothing they're wearing when they pass. And I usually put them in a shroud. I cover them in a blanket or a towel. And when they pass away at the veterinarian and I decide to bury them, they come in a little box and I bury the box. And if they get cremated, then you get either ashes in, you can get all kinds of urns and different things, and or
Yeah.
you don't get anything back at all. But that,
Mm,
each option adds a cost. And so I prefer if the dog was especially beloved to bury the dog at home. And it
yeah.
that way they're sort of close by. Um but yeah, it gets to be so like obviously space is an issue for burying and cost is an issue with cremation and I'll be the other thing that again like these are sort of the details that are very like not everybody wants to hear about or think about, but um
Yeah.
I don't really want a dog once it's passed, like I want to bury it right away.
Yeah,
Um
no, that makes
and
sense.
so that's another factor of like how like reasonable is it to bury the dog?
Yeah.
Um like
And
right now it's not.
another queen that I think we have is also Minnie, right?
Mhm,
And
mhm.
she's also a small
Yes.
dog.
Yep, that's my girl. That's my girl. It's my girl dog. Yep. She's another rescue from the same animal control person at Colony with the same story. She went to
Yeah.
how do you pronounce it? Boyd
Boyd.
veterinary
Boyd
Boyd.
veterinarian.
They,
Yeah. So she
they,
was also a stray.
yeah. She was found wandering the streets of Colony.
Oh my
Picked up,
gosh.
yeah, I know. It's like, wait a second, somebody dumped her. They
Yeah.
just had to have dumped her.
Yeah.
And I
That's
just fell in love. I'd never actually had a Chihuahua. And she and I got very attached. And she was just very demanding, very adorable, and lived a long time. a long time. And when she started to fade, it was in her mouth where she was starting to have trouble. I took her to the vet to see why she was eating kind of like this, and she had some rotten teeth, and it would have been we pulled one of them, but it would have been very expensive to do dental work on a dog that's dying. So,
Yeah.
I didn't do it. Did everything to make her comfortable. She continued to eat. She did. I just would give her like baby food. And when she decided to go, she did what is sort of like the traditional thing that dogs do that I haven't personally experienced, and that is that she went off somewhere to die, which is really not an experience I've had.
Mm. And a
So,
lot of pets go through that, right? Like
mhm,
not just dogs, but
mm,
cats and such.
mhm,
I know we have a viewer saying she's Nicole by 2112, and she said, "My sweet cat Sky is on his last few days, or
mm,
maybe just
mm,
hours. I hope he doesn't die today
mm,
because all vets
mm.
are closed due to the
Oh
weather."
Oh,
God, yeah.
Yeah,
oh,
but
Oh,
got some
that
concerns about the cost of cremation, so we were wondering how much does that usually cost for a small dog? I imagine it could be the same for a cat.
it's about $130, $150. It
sometimes as much as 200. It really depends on the size of
it
the
depends
dog,
on the
right?
size, yeah. But for
Yeah,
a cat or a small dog, it's probably $130.
right.
And it depends
Mhm.
on the packages. So, I just want to say that my heart goes out to you if your dog, like, part of the stress, there's this other, like, really, uh, one of the, like, logistical stressors is what do you do if, this has happened so many times. It's like Friday and you're like, this dog isn't going to make it through the weekend. And making that decision, like, it really kind of sometimes is forced
Mm.
the decision because you're like, something like it's really going to get bad on Saturday night or something, and then I'm going to be stuck.
You just
And
went through that. You just went through that too, didn't you?
yeah, I
Yeah.
did. London, who passed
Yeah.
away a few weeks ago,
Hmm.
came
Yeah.
home. I came home from work and she was having seizures. And I thought she was going to pass quickly, and she didn't. And so I called the vet at like 6:30. They close at 7, and I said, I have this dog and I really need to bring her in to have her um euthanized. And they were these veterinarians like that I work with, they're so amazing, and they let me like rush over and we got her taken care of right away. And but my heart goes out to anybody who's in that position of like, I know the time is coming, and the process, like this is something we don't talk about. Like dying is a process. It doesn't just happen like you snap your fingers. And so when you see that it's starting, um, it can last a long time. And of course, wanting to limit pain and suffering is tough because we can't ourselves say, okay, it's time, and administer, a pill or a shot. And so
Right.
yeah, holding out until Monday morning when you can get the dog to the vet. Where we are, there's some really nice, there's a private cremation facility not far from where I live, and I've taken a dog there, and it it's a really lovely experience to have somebody else who understands, and who also not just like the process of like the cremation, but the process of the grief associated with it.
Hmm.
So, yeah. And Minnie,
It's
I just want to
rough.
say, right, Debbie,
Hmm.
you called her Minnie because she was your mini me. Because she refused to be parted from Debbie for a long time. Dave couldn't, she would like snap at people.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
She
It
I
was
was
will.
not,
only Debbie or no one.
yeah,
Yeah.
let's be honest, like she wasn't very friendly to other people
Oh
for the long
no.
Yeah.
time.
She looks like she has an attitude. Like,
She
She does.
totally
Yeah.
had an attitude.
Yeah. And she
She
wasn't afraid of big dogs at all.
No.
No, no, she had no sense of her size. But I think that's true of Chihuahuas in general, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Chihuahuas are fearless and affectionate. Like
Hmm.
Chihuahuas, I didn't have Chihuahuas until I started fostering, and Chihuahuas have amazing personalities because they're big, they have giant personalities and are fearless. Most of the, like Zinnia is fearless, but also super snuggly and very noisy. Like she's a lot. She's got a lot going on. She's not just like she's complex. She's a complex
Yeah.
girl.
Hmm.
What do you have there? Is it like a little bag?
Yeah, this is a
Like,
sling. This is like a dog sling.
oh,
And
cool.
I have experimented with dog bags and this very basic, like just like it's like a baby sling almost, but it is set up
Mm.
for a dog. To me works
Yeah,
the
she
well
seems so
like
comfortable.
yeah, she's just hanging out because that way I don't have to hold her. And
Yeah.
yeah, so this is we've done a lot of dog a lot of time at the farmers market with dogs in dogs in bags.
Yeah.
Um, and she's a very cuddly girl, so she gets to be in it today.
Yeah. Small dogs are
Yeah.
usually the ones that you take to like farmers market and
Hmm.
like these kinds of events, right?
Hmm.
We took Ollie to a couple.
That's right.
Um, but
Gr-
go ahead, Debbie.
Yeah, he was very popular. He would go with us. We took
He has such a grumpy face.
yeah, I know, but he was
He
like
was
a
so
clown
sweet.
face.
Yeah.
So sweet.
So sweet.
We used to take Squirrel with us, who's the husky.
Yeah.
We took big dogs too, but the little dogs are just we could get more in we would take a portable, expandable cage and put blankets down and dog beds and the smaller ones gave us the opportunity to bring more of them. So
Right.
we would, although we also brought Bunny, who was
Yeah.
huge,
Yeah,
huge.
Bunny was 70. Bunny is
Yeah.
still it. I mean, Bunny isn't gone. He's
No,
just
he's
not
not
with us
gone.
anymore.
Yeah.
Bunny is
I think I just
75
saw
pounds.
Bunny, right? She like
No, that's Franny.
oh,
Um,
that's Franny.
yeah, so
Okay.
Franny is a little bit jealous and she's like, "Why is Zinnia on your lap?" And she climbed onto
Why
a
don't I
chair.
get to be there?
Yeah, what's going on? She's like a mother. She's very like, "Okay, is everybody okay?" Bunny, but
Yeah.
Bunny got adopted. So Bunny um, I have two adoptable dogs, Bootsy and Betty, and they were adopted and they weren't a good fit for the adopter. So she had to bring them back. And when she brought them back, she met the other dogs. And then a few weeks later, she said, "Do you know, is Bunny a dog that could be adopted?" And I said, "You know what? He sure could be." And so she knew his age and his situation. And um, so sometimes, even though we're not in the business of adopting dogs, when the right home comes up, um, it we
Absolutely.
do that. And
Right.
basically, Bunny, her dog had passed in October, and I think Bunny was, she needed a dog that was like her old dog, and that's what she got. So Bunny went to a
Yeah.
new home where he wasn't part of a crew of eight
Mm.
other dogs, and he's very happy.
Can I just
Gotcha.
say something to the lady who is it Nicole? Is that her name?
Yeah,
Who has
Nicole
Nicole?
and her
It's
cat.
or your cat. I really feel for you. I totally understand.
Yeah.
And this is how it helps me. I have a fear of death. I don't think the dogs do, or the cats. I think it's not death that they're afraid of. That's my personal feeling because they don't have any. I don't think they have the thinking to think of death as something that happens. I think they don't like the pain. And
Mm-hmm.
what you want to do for them, the best thing you can do for them is keep an eye on the level of pain because they don't want to be in pain any more than any creature wants to be in pain. But if you can help them with their pain, and if that means letting them go, then you're giving them a great gift, a great
Right.
gift. And by the way, when my time comes, Kathy Hochul, the governor of
Oh
New
my
York,
gosh.
just made it legal for
Yeah.
assisted suicide. That's what I want. I
No,
want what
Yeah.
I
Debbie,
give
too
my
bad.
dogs.
We're keeping
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. It
Yes.
is It is never not sad, but it is
Beautiful. It's also beautiful.
it is it's really important to give them a peaceful ending and for it to be without fear and discomfort. And I have never had a dog that we've taken to the vet and had the vet say it's not its time. There's never a time, like, in your heart,
Yeah, it's
if you
very
have a
compassionate, I would
Hmm.
assume.
Hmm.
it yeah. And I think the other thing is, like, it's also super sad. And
Yeah,
the problem, and one of the things that I think is I'm really excited actually about the podcast is that we can talk about how sad it is to lose your pet and how a
true.
lot of people don't understand how sad it is and the grief. I've had dogs, and I know Debbie, you and Dave as well, have had dogs that you mourn for years and years and years. And
Well, Moose Lodge is named after
right,
one of our dogs. One of
yeah,
our most.
there's
Oh,
many.
that's Minnie
Yeah.
negotiating the stairs,
Yeah,
which she
Minnie, we
does.
have a little video of Minnie just remember her, since we're
So,
talking about it.
what's so funny about Minnie too, right, is that she was so small that there were hardly any clothes to fit her,
Yeah,
and
right.
she was really skinny. I
Yeah.
feel like PetSmart and those places started selling guinea pig clothes, and they're about the same size as the tiniest chihuahuas. So, um, but yeah, giving the
Who's
dog
up there watching her?
Who is that? I'm trying to
Is
remember
that
who.
Puddles?
No,
no.
Puddles was relatively new.
Oh,
I mean,
that is
Mi-
Dickens.
is that
Oh,
No?
Dickens?
Dickens.
No, it's Mindy. It's Mindy who was also
Mindy.
Sasquatch. Sasquatch.
Oh,
No, Ginger.
Sasquatch.
That's
Ginger.
Ginger.
Sasquatch
That's
baby.
Ginger.
I
That's
don't know
Oh
who
my God, there's
it
so
is.
many.
Let me just
We
say,
have to like have an episode where we have all of them because they all look like little white clouds.
yeah.
uh, can
That's
I
beautiful.
say that when I go through pictures, I'm like, oh, this is gonna sound terrible, but I have had a bunch of the little fluffy white dogs, and they all look the same.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like the Shih Tzus. Oh,
But you
Puddles.
remember their names, that's what's important.
Yes, and they're
And when
always
we
in
do
my
talk
heart.
about them, you know that like it comes up like the stories and stuff.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. Oh, Puddles. Puddles
and
was,
another little white cloud that we lost was Puddles recently,
yeah,
right?
she
So
was a sweet dog.
yeah, just
And
recently in
She had a
February.
few
Yeah.
names. She came with Sadie, I think, and then
Sassy.
Sassy.
Yeah,
And she
she
came
came
from
as
for Blake's sake again. Wonderful people, and they really have brought us such joy with their animals. Doreen Murphy. That's our shout out to Doreen Murphy
Yeah,
because
Doreen is the best. And
she does brilliant work.
Oh,
Brilliant work. I mean,
yeah.
she personally goes to the shelters and
Sh
pulls dogs that she
yeah,
thinks are still adoptable for one
sh
reason or
wow.
other.
she does the work that I would never want to do, which is
Yeah.
like the front line. She works so she's what's called a New Hope partner with the New York City shelters. And she also works with the Elizabeth, New Jersey shelter, and is there helping she consults on behavior and like pulls dogs. And I've had many, 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 many dogs from the Elizabeth, New Jersey shelter. The New York
Yeah.
City shelters, over the last, I don't know, 15 years have become just amazing. They have amazing, they're funded, and they have fantastic facilities, and um they're well supported. But some of the shelters other places, especially like in the South, where municipal shelters don't get a lot of foot traffic. And in New Jersey too, Elizabeth, New Jersey shelter does not get a lot of foot traffic. The Newark, New Jersey shelter does not get a lot of foot traffic. And they're kind of in these really like grim industrial areas of the cities. And so they have a large volume of dogs coming in and not a large going out. So Doreen goes in and she is saving dogs all of the time. And
Mm.
um and that's actually our most recent dog came from Doreen, and he is adorable. So I don't know if you want to show
Alfie?
his picture. So moving from the sad stories of the Rainbow Bridge, this is Alfie. Um,
Alfie?
he he is actually probably going to get renamed
That's
because
slide
I
9.
don't feel he is an Alfie. He came with the name Alpha, which is also not his, he's not an alpha. But he was in the shelter for a while. He was an owner surrender, and I hesitated to take him because he is not neutered. And so the shelter arranged for him through Doreen. Basically, we have a stipend to get him neutered, and this week he's getting neutered at our local Humane
Yay.
Oh,
Society. And
neutering day.
I know, really excited about that. It will make everything nicer. Because I do have a dog. The really older dogs, like Sandy was never spayed, and Franny isn't. Um, and obviously the surgery for the boy dogs is a lot less invasive. And so if there's a decision, and also it's expensive to get a dog spayed or neutered, and so um, he's the lucky one who's getting neutered instead of having one of the female dogs who's not spayed get surgery. So he's
Yeah.
gonna get that and he'll be happy here. He is one of the sweetest dogs I've ever had. And he has become in a week a really like important part of the pack. He loves all the other dogs and he's really sweet, and he's 12 or 13, and he's about 50 pounds. So he's one of
Mm.
those dogs that would not get adopted, but he's going to have a fabulous home.
Yeah. And how often do we get those kinds of dogs that, or is every dog, I think it's usually every dog that you guys are getting are non-adoptable, right?
Um, it depends. Mostly, yeah, not adoptable. What sometimes happens, and maybe we'll do a podcast on these. We have
Mm.
rehomed dogs that came to us and for one reason or another just didn't fit in with the lifestyle, the sanctuary lifestyle, because they just like didn't like to live with a bunch of other dogs. And so we have a few other dogs that got rehomed. And so they weren't necessarily some of them were adopted and some of them are kind of um like another satellite version of Moose Lodge. We have Ralphie and Bippy and Mama Cass who got, and then Bunny too, who went to different homes.
Yeah, maybe we can do like a small segment on all of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
dogs that got,
And
fostered.
how they got adopted, because Megan is really rather a genius at this, and
Yeah.
she has little tricks that she does to like take a dog to Lowe's and walk around in Lowe's with a dog that says
You want
adopt
this
me,
dog?
and
Right.
yeah, and we placed a dog through somebody who works at Lowe's. I mean, she really knows what she's
Yeah,
doing. She
and
really does.
Ralphie got he was a little dog. He's still around, a miniature pincher, and he was delightful. He was happy to be at Moose Lodge, but he really annoyed the other dogs. And
Mm,
so for his own
why?
safety, because he would dance around and he was blind, and so he would dance around and jump at the other. I think in particular, he really bothered Squirrel.
Hmm.
And Squirrel was like, well, Squirrel was giant, and we were concerned, I think, for Ralphie's safety and just the general vibe of
Mm,
annoyance that Ralphie caused. And so, um, he moved back to Staten Island. He went to this wonderful woman who had adopted a dog I had before. She had a giant bulldog who she couldn't take care of anymore, so he came back to me and she was really bereft because she had had dogs forever. And I said, "Listen, I have this dog I think you'll love, and we need this dog to have a new home." And Ralphie is her baby, and it's just the most amazing fit. So like
yeah,
we're
that's
always like
great.
I always keep my eye open for people who might be interested or in looking for a dog. And yeah, Lowe's is always a good place.
Yeah,
Always.
that's
I was at
great.
Lowe's this morning with Alfie. And a gentleman was like, I think you should call him Roscoe.
Mhm.
So
Oh,
Ralph,
oh
yeah,
yeah, is his name gonna change?
it will when the right name appears. And
Yeah.
that's not happened yet. He wanted to call him Roscoe, and I'm like, I don't know. So we'll see what
Yeah, you should
we.
have said, We'll call him Roscoe if you want to adopt him."
Well, that's actually what I said. I said, if you name him, you have to take him. But,
Right?
um, but they,
It is one of the things that we consider part of our privilege is that we get
yeah,
to rename the dogs if we don't like the names, and
right,
we rename them all the time, and something
right.
sticks eventually. Like Parsnip was not originally Parsnip. Parsnip was originally Big Bad John. Puddles, for instance,
Parsnip.
there was not, there's Parsnip. Puddles was not Puddles. She was, you said Sadie, right? Was that
Sassy.
Sassy? And then we
Oh,
tried some
Sassy. Oh,
Sassy.
that's interesting. So why
Yeah.
did
Yeah.
you guys name him Puddles?
Because she just would walk around and make puddles. She was so old, she would just walk around and
Yeah.
pee and potty and eat. That's, and bump into things. So that was the other thing. We called her pinball because she would just bump into something and then, just turn around and bump into something else. So, but finally, puddles kind of stuck. It's
It,
funny. It's funny.
it's
That's what
not always
happens.
so literal, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
but like Puddles, yeah, and yeah,
But there
naming
she
the
is.
dogs is so this is the day we picked her up from
Mhm.
Doreen, and we stopped to get ice cream, and this is her doggy Sunday at the ice cream place in Catskill, New York.
Yeah.
She was very happy. I don't think she'd ever had one before.
No, for sure she hadn't,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think. But
Dogs are not, they can't really have ice cream, right? But because they're so old that you guys just let,
no,
them
so
have their
you just
moment.
have to be really careful. So this is vanilla soft serve with peanut
Mm,
butter topping and a milk bone. And a lot of the local ice cream places have some version of this doggy sundae. So, there's a lot of sugar in it, in the peanut butter sauce, and the ice cream. So, like, it's not something that you would give all the time, but it is safe for them to
right.
eat
Mm.
as long as you stick to like the really basics. And they make dog ice cream. You can buy it from the store, but like as a special treat, I take dogs to get sundaes in the summertime all the time because
That's
it's like
awesome. I love that.
it's a
Yeah,
treat
maybe we
for
should have
them.
like an episode on that, like special
Hmm.
treats and
Hmm.
like things like
Yeah,
that. That would be
Hmm.
really cute.
Hmm.
yeah,
And before we move on from puddles, because I know we're at time, we do have a GoFundMe for
yeah,
honoring Puddles and Tucks. They are our recently passed seniors. And so if you guys would like to, support what we do here at Moose Lodge, please feel free.
yeah.
Um, and I'm just gonna head over to this slide too with Nyla, Memphis, and Parsnip. Because the kids are they have sad faces, and I think they passed away. They haven't passed away. These are the dogs that we took to the vet,
Right.
right? Just letting you know. So Nyla, Memphis, and Parsnip are still very much with us. And they just recently went to the vet, and I know we were thanking people for,
Yeah, that's
donating
Yeah,
for
because
the
even just the basics, because we don't really do any sort of major life-saving things because they're seniors. We don't do any, if they have tumors, we can't pay for that. So we just do the basics. We make sure they've got their shots. We do a senior blood panel. That's the most important thing because you can tell from a senior blood panel if they have something happening, something maybe diabetic or something. That's how they can tell. So we can treat them. But
right.
when it comes to life changing, altering, I have friends that have spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars trying to save a dog who's going to die. And, we're all going to die, but I mean, who's really not well. And
Mm,
the vet says, well, sometimes, by the way, we will do like x rays or
Mm-hmm.
MRIs, but that's like as far as we'll go. If we have to do something more, the dog has to be young enough to sustain it, and we have to raise the funds because we don't have those kind of funds.
Right. We would
We
do
So,
like a
do,
fundraiser, and then
yeah,
hopefully if we can get the funds, then we can
yeah.
get the dog
yeah,
some support and help.
right,
Yeah.
Yeah, we
right,
do what's called palliative care, which
right. That's
is
the right word.
um uh care that makes them comfortable and safe, but is not going to necessarily extend their life by a lot. So it's the difference between pain medication and chemotherapy, um, or antibiotics versus something like more serious. So it is about, maintaining a quality of life, but not taking on um, uh, really drastic, invasive treatment.
Right, yeah. And I know we are very close to our goal for the other campaign that we had. We're raising funds for it because we got 3 dogs in, but we want to get more dogs in too.
The vet, yeah.
So here is the Give Butter campaign that we have ongoing. And I know we're in time, but I also wanted to just put out the Moose Lodge Senior Pet Sanctuary like volunteering slide up. If we can get that up, Eric, it's the next one over. And then because we are trying to get, people to come and support, but also like volunteer, because it's just another way of helping along with
Hmm.
watching these kinds of episodes. If you have any kind of talent, you want to do graphics, you want to do design, you want to get into marketing, video, whatever it is, I'm sure we can find a spot for you if you want to, come and help us. We would love to
Mhm.
have you. And then you can help me. And we can make sure that we find a good spot for you, and that can hopefully progress through your career too if you're looking to, I don't know, get into
And
something
right.
specific.
Yeah, we're a not-for-profit, and if you're a college student, a veterinary student, you want a letter of recommendation from us, or an internship, we'll take you. We'll take you.
come
We
come
need
work
you.
come work with us. We
Yeah,
need
come
you.
Right.
work with us. Yes,
Yeah.
and we
And
have
then
fun.
finally, we have
Yay.
a slide
Yeah.
on if you have a story about your senior pet, or if you've experienced loss, please share with us. We would love to honor your pets. Just as how we go through our pets and we want to have a little bit of a
Hmm.
time for them. It's a coping way of doing it, and we would love to, honor any pets that come around with their stories and stuff. So you can submit them at stories@mooselodgesps.org.
Yay.
And we want to hold that space for pet parents to grieve and remember and celebrate their pet companions, just like how we do, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's pretty much all for today.
Yay.
I hope everybody stays warm and safe from the blizzard. Is it
Yeah.
started yet?
Yeah, it's snowing.
It's
Oh
It's
no.
snowing. It's not a lot, but it's snowing.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So if you guys are watching us from other parts of the country, I know Debbie has some friends in California and other parts of the US. Then thank you so much for being with us, and we hope to see you next time, and we hope to share again. Thank you
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you for
Thank
joining us.
you. Bye.
Bye. Okay, let me see if we can get Whitney